You've taken your two captives, Zenthas and Uvantha, who are the two Easterlings that you had captured, to a secluded crag in the plains, and you're hidden beneath this like outcropping of rock. You've lit a small fire and made a camp, far from prying eyes. You know that the bodies of the others that you had killed will attract attention when morning comes, but it's early evening now. And Baragond is cooking up some sausages, rashers, and beans, while the two captives lie on the ground, bound and gagged. You've taken off their armor and taken away their weapons, and without these things, they are people. And I guess you knew that, but maybe it like becomes more apparent that they're just men like you, or a man and a woman rather, darker of skin, smaller of stature, but just people. They both have like black makeup around their eyes, and both of their heads are shaven. And they don't have any sort of finery really, apart from like rings on their fingers. And this is the situation in which we find you.
I think it won't be long since they've set up this place to rest, eat, and interrogate. The Faroth will insist that these two be separated. He does not want them to have any form of communication with the other. And while they are still men, to him, they have allowed themselves to be corrupted by the dark force that threatens us all, and that he can't abide. And he looks to Cynric and gives him a sort of a nod to say, "Come with me over here, out of earshot. I need to talk to you." And he sweeps away with his owl cloak trailing behind him.
Cynric follows,
while Baragon stirs the stew.
Cynric, these are your lands. This is your home. What information would you have from them that would make defending this place easier?
I was hoping to know their numbers, their leaders, if any more come to aid their despicable cause. Maybe how long they've been encamped around my home could give us a judge on how long it may yet last.
Faroth gives a nod and he walks back to one of these prisoners and he looks down and draws a sword as if threateningly at the individual and goes to direct the point towards the man lying upon the floor. And the blade gets incredibly close to the prisoner's face, and perhaps he panics for a second, but Faroth just uses it to cuts the rag from his mouth. And he says, in a gruff voice looking down upon him, "Do you speak our tongue?"
He like looks up at you, and then like to the woman who's tied up next to him, and then back to you. Shrugs. "I do."
"Then you'll understand this. Do you see that man by the fire?"
He looks between Cynric and Baragond.
"That man cooking our meal for this evening. He has many skills. A gifted chef. He's also a cold-blooded murderer. He delved deep beneath the mountains. I don't know if tales of Gundabad have reached your home, but I assure you from first-hand experience it is quite unpleasant. If you do not tell us what we require, I will allow him to commit his craft upon you. Do you understand?"
Baragond, underlit by the fire, wipes some of the mucus and blood that's running down from his ruined eye away from his food.
The man like looks between Baragond and you, shakes his head. "I don't believe you."
We bested you. We defeated you. What makes you believe that we are incapable of anything?
Your kind do not torture. Your kind You can kill on the battlefield, but not like this. I do not believe it.
Farroth looks to Cynric.
Cynric lowers down closer to the man, but, you know, still at arm's length in case he attempts to flail out at him. You have come a long way from home. You do this for a Dark Lord, dark purpose. Look into my eyes and see the eyes that have looked upon your Dark Lord and has smote him, smote a vestige of him and destroyed all that he holds dear. Do you doubt me? And he gives him the most dead-eyed stare he can manage.
He stares back, and you can see that there's not quite a raised eyebrow, but like a sort of questioning.
Do you see all the things that I am bedecked in? This ancient armor, the spear that fell your brothers and sisters, the axe that cleaves your horse in twain. Do you see yourself in the dirt, the mud, with nothing?
If it's my place to die here, then I will die. I come here not because the Dark Lord told me to, but because my prince told me to, and he was told by someone else. You understand this. You have a king. He actually doesn't say king. He would say sultan or something like that. But it would he would correct himself.
Do you ever think you're on the wrong side of this war? Do you ever think the dark purpose and the slaughter, that it wasn't meant to be when you were a little boy? Is that what you think you would grow up to be? Someone with wet blood on his hands, blood of the innocent, those who didn't choose this fight, those mothers, daughters, sons, too young to wield a blade. That is what you condone by encircling and encroaching upon Rohan. Is that how you live?
I fight because it's my duty. All those who fight under the princes, it is their duty. I am given land, and I fight because of it. Everyone is a casualty when war comes. You know this. You do not give any pity to those who you slay either. Or if you do, then you are a bad soldier.
One can fight for his friends and his family to see them safe. We didn't start this. You invaded us. Now, your Dark Lord perverted what is good in you and in your people, in your princes, and set us against each other. We're both men. He is not.
He sucks in his teeth, clears his throat. Maybe. A long time ago, me and my kind were chased from your lands. And now we live far away. And there are many peoples who all look different. They don't all look like you, big and beardy and tall, pale of skin. There are a great many nations, different princes, different kings, all united. All are welcome.
So he was saying in his homeland all are welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically that like there's all these different nations that work together and like they all have united together, you know.
We do the same. Many nations of men, elf, dwarf, united for a singular purpose. For your downfall, or the downfall of who's responsible. But you still see us as people of mercy. You say we do not torture. The way you say that makes me think that you know very well what your people do, and that it is wrong.
No, your people lack conviction. You lack the will to do what is necessary to win a war. That's why you will lose. You will, in a war, you will come into our lands and you will not kill the small folk and you will leave the farms unburnt, and because of that we will win. That is not how we make war. The entire East is emptied, and all of the great princes and the Khans and the Sultans come pouring forth under one banner, and all come forth under his name, bring the fires of industry and progress to the world. Begun shall be the elven tyranny and dwarven greed. An age of man is coming.
What of the age of orcs? Do you truly think you'll have a place in this world once your work is done? Do you really think that the deceiver has a place for any men in his world?
You and your kind show nothing but hate to the orc and the troll and the goblin, but they are not beasts, not simple monsters. They have thoughts. They sing songs. You do not know.
They sing songs about the entrails of those that they slaughter and pillage from.
And you sing songs of victory and slaughter just the same.
We want to know how many men you have besieging Eldenburg. We want to know about your movements. Tell us this, and your death will be quick.
We are without number. The 13 princes of our great nation are united, and all have come under their banners, and the Variags follow a great Khan, and the Haradrim stand united behind their sultans. Even the corsairs of Umbar come with a single purpose. Now is the hour of our ascension. For too long have we been banished eastwards. For too long have we suffered. And under the rule of the Dark Lord, we will thrive and take our place in the ancestral home of all men.
You think you do this to escape suffering, but you will merely create it and suffer it all the same. I give you one last chance. Your position and your forces at Eldenburg.
If it were reversed and you were here and I asked you to give away the secrets of your people, the numbers of your friends, of your families, you would tell me? I think not.
Faroth gives Cynric a look. Since they've arrived in Rohan, Faroth has been deferring to Cynric's opinion, particularly being this is his homeland. And really he's giving him this look to say, Is there a reason why I'm not going to kill this man?
Not really. So he, Cynric gives you a look like not really. And Cynric leans in to that man and he whispers in the black speech, "Tell Sauron I will see him again," in whatever guttural tongue that sounds like. And maybe there is a moment of shock or something before Fareth puts the blade in.
And he does a thrust into the heart. It's merciful.
The man will like peel back and he'll like reach out his hand towards the woman as like his last act before he like dies immediately.
Farrell's gaze then goes to the woman on the ground, cuts the rag from her mouth.
She immediately just begins screaming curses at you. There are tears in her eyes. She just like spits in your direction.
If you have family, if you have people to go to, then you can. If you tell us what we need to know.
Monster! Murderer!
Farrell just stabs her.
She dies.
Cursing, Farrell flicks the blood from his blade, and he just stalks to the very edge of where the firelight reaches, and looks off into the ridden mark.
We might not have learned exactly what we wanted to know, but I feel we'd learnt plenty.
There's a shiver, Cynric, as you like look at the bodies beneath you, of this sense of like correctness. Like that was just and that was proper, and those who speak to you in that manner should die.
Okay. So yeah, he looks down at the twisted bodies, with their lifeblood spilling out, and he'll say his piece. I think we've learned plenty. The council will look forward to knowing that all 13 princes and the Haradrim Sultans and the Corsairs and the Variags, they all unite under one thing, one purpose. It doesn't help with our current situation. We at least did not kill them for nothing. And he kind of grimaces at them. And then turns.
He gave. I'm sorry.
No, and then turns. You'll go.
Yeah. Farrell just looks grimly back and sort of catches Baragon's eye being the operative word. And sorry, that was me. And says he gave a generous appraisal of their numbers and what we will face.
We'll have to get the information another way. We'll have
to look ourselves. Have we any scouts in the area at all? Were any riders sent, Cynric?
I know we sent some riders to the other cities. Did we send absolutely everybody away but us?
You had sent I think you have maybe 3 or 4 guys with you, but you'd sent like the vast majority of those you had taken to ride to whatever nearby towns are, and like warn them that Eldenburg is under siege, and basically to get information to Edoras.
Mm-hmm. We have a few men and ourselves. We've done more with less.
It is true. I think first we should eat. It has been a while since we've had hot food. And then we rest for but a while. We'll need our strength for the ride to Eldenburg. We must go there immediately. Your people are suffering.
Oh, says Beragond, as you talk about the food, realizing he's got distracted during the moment and burnt the food. He starts scraping the bottom of the pot.
I remember you being a better cook, Beragond. He says that in jest, as a smile.
Beragond grimaces a smile back.
There's a bitter sort of ashen taste to some of the burnt food as you eat. You have to eat. You munch and at one point, Farad, you turn to look briefly and you can see the woman's hateful face frozen in death. She stares at you as you force yourself to swallow some ashen rashers.
Yeah, it's ill with him what he did, but as a servant of Sauron, why should they not suffer the same fate that an orc would? Yeah, he is uneasy. He's not entirely feeling confident. They don't have any information about the assault on Rohan, really. To my knowledge as well, the last time that Beragond and Vareth had a proper conversation, it was quite a heated one. But regardless, after he's finished his meal, he's going to pull over his new cloak onto him, and he's going to try and get some rest before they ride in a few hours.
And rest you do in the outcropping of rock with a couple of men keeping watch of the fire. It's warm at least, and mostly out of the wind, and you can sleep until just before dawn when a gruff Rahim will awaken you and tell you it's time to go.
Oh, we must ride the bodies of those that fell yesterday. They'll attract attention. We must go now. And he looks to Cynric, who obviously throughout his homeland will be taking the lead with Ciaro.
From what I remember, we were scouting it from one side, and then we saw these horsemen leave, and we kind of chased them, tracked them right the way around, quite some distance.
So you're quite a bit further west than Eldenburg is. At this stage, you would have followed them for maybe the guts of a day or something before you made the attack, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, you could go back towards Eldenburg, or, yeah, you've made a little bit of headway west.
It's still days away from the nearest town, perhaps, or the nearest town of note.
It'll be a couple of days to Edoras, probably. Where he is, let me just check. Yeah, probably about two and a bit days to Edoras. There would be other castles in East Emnet and West Emnet that you would know where they are. If you wanted to make your way towards those, you could do that. Or back towards Eldenburg.
I think there is two choices ahead of us, maybe three. We move to a different position to where we were scouting before, and we try and assess numbers or weaknesses or something for the coming fight. Sorry?
You would have seen, I think I said maybe 1,000 odd troops at Eldenburg. Might even been more than that. Basically, an army split almost down the middle between Easterlings and Wayne Riders.
Yes, and one of them was more organized than the other.
Yes, the Easterling camp was extremely military and neat, like a Roman camp would look. And the Wayne Rider camp was very much like a couple of wagons and around them some tents and stuff like that. Not nearly the same sort of military discipline.
So we could attempt to skirmish with forces that move out and away or disrupt supplies, though that may either cause them to hurry their siege or to back off. Can't really guess which at this point.
How many people live in your homestead? Can it support? What has attracted an army of this size? Surely they'll be moving on soon, or is there some reason for 1,000 to siege this place?
Hildenberg is one of the largest settlements you'll find for days. I imagine it's swollen with people from the pasture that have sought shelter. If you wish to strike a blow to Rohan, this would be the first blow you struck.
Mm.
I don't know if they treasure anything within our holds beyond slaughter.
How long can Eldenburg hold out? Any idea?
Lloyd?
It's a good question.
I imagined it was like almost how you see Edoras, up on most of it's up on a
Definitely.
hill and has a wall and stuff. So reasonable, but
I would say weeks to months, probably. Probably, I would say at a maximum like 3 months because of the swelling of all the people who would have come. If it was just the people who live there, a lot longer. But it's like all the people who like rush in.
Yeah.
But I think 3 months would be generous, and at that stage, the people inside would be like heavily rationing, if not starving.
But we don't have a. Do we have a time frame? Like they've been there for the siege.
How long they've been there? No,
Yeah.
you don't. No.
No.
But it was long enough, at least, for the Rohirrim to ride or sail up the river, tell you, hang out till the end of the battle, and sail back down, which is a while, a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah. So we could aim to harass them. We could aim to do whatever 3 men can do. We've already sent messengers to the cities. I don't know if our help is needed there. Perhaps we could start fires.
Or cut off the head of the snake. Maybe we can find their leadership. One of Sauron's generals surely will be at the head of this fell force.
We could. I don't know if we would see the light of day afterwards. These men may not melt away as easily as the orcs do when you kill their leader.
Yeah, that rings true, and I think that makes a lot of sense. That you would all kind of feel that, like the orcs are almost like magically bound by the person who leads them, but men are men, even if they are dark men.
I can't remember how long we scouted out the camp for, but I presume their supply lines are, heading towards the east, towards the river.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So you would have been there for, I think, a day or two. You stayed and watched. And you would have gotten an impression of like what the routine was like. But definitely, the supplies are coming from river, but also from like foraging. There would be like groups of Wayne riders and stuff going out and taking from surrounding farms and things like that that have been abandoned.
We could attempt to disrupt the camp with a fire. We could attempt to disrupt the supplies. We could wait safely until anyone arrives.
We don't know what the best course of action will be until we get there. Let us see what our enemy has presented us with.
3.
While the sort of conversation was going on, and no, Beregond turns to Cynric. What is the strongest point? What is the most defensible, strongest point in its defenses? Where can you inflict most slaughter should they attack?
So, the Grand Halls sit upon the cliff face, which I imagine would be hard to assault, even with that many numbers. I imagine they would come over the walls and the main gate. There is
So
a narrowing.
If they tried climbing the cliff, that would be
The most difficult route, I would imagine.
Yeah, there would
easy to be
be
shot from.
there'd be an outer wall, around the main town, and then like up atop the cliff where the huge hill where the Lord's fort would be, there would be an additional wall with like another gate. And you would think like, well, it might be quote unquote easy to get through the main wall. The secondary wall is going to be a nightmare because it's like this winding path up to it, or climbing a cliff, or a very steep hill, basically. I mean, other options include like going to talk to someone else who has lots of troops and trying to get them to help. Going to Edirvas and seeing what King Thengel is doing. Going to Isengard, seeing what Saruman is doing. Like you are in Rohan and relatively free because there's so few of you. So there's numerous options.
Edoras would be the closest. You said it was roughly maybe 2 days away.
Yes, yeah. There would be other settlements closer, but like a day maybe. Around here, like lesser lords.
Pharaoh. Sorry,
There you go.
Pharaoh's going to turn and he's going to look at Cynric and say, "Have we had word from the king at all?"
What's the name of the king?
Thengel.
Thengal. E-L? Thengel.
Father of
It's Theoden's father.
Yeah.
Just
if you remember, we'd only kind of just arrived, and we sent the riders out. We were there for like a day or two and sent the riders out to look for other places, and then we chased these guys down, which has taken us, maybe a day or more. So we haven't gone anywhere directly, and we haven't heard anything back. There might be riders by the time we get back. But Edoras is like 2 days away. Other places are less. We might be able to gather a small force, or we could work our way down to Minas Tirith. Not sure how difficult it is to cross the Maring Stretch, whatever that little river is.
For you guys, because there's so few of you, again, it'll be possible for you to cross that stream and go through the mountains. Like find a pass in the mountains. But for an army, that's like not possible, But for the three of you, that's definitely doable. If you wanted to go to Minas Tirith or into like Lossarnach or any other places in Gondor, you could do so. It would be a journey, but it would be, doable.
I think Edoras would be our best bet. Find out the king's position on this and try and rally. Worst case scenario, Eldenberg has a week, maybe a few days left before it falls. At least we could rally something to get there rather than the siege run its course, take too long, and then the men and women inside lack the strength to fight every day as another man, another woman, another child dead.
So we ride for the crossing of the Entwash and towards Edoras. We might meet some of the riders we sent coming back the other way.
Then that is our path.
Okay, so it's decided. and you ride from your little hiding place.
One moment, asks Beregond, quickly scribbling down a note on some parchment, and then passing it to Cynric. He says, "How does this read to you? Does this sound like it could be sent by some Rohirrim commander?" And it reads, King Thengel, send relief soon. A joint army of Eastlanders and Wainriders have us besieged at Eldenburg. As yet, they haven't discovered the weakness in the inner wall, but soon enough they will breach the outer wall and come swarming over the inner wall, and we will fall. If this falls into the enemy's hands, maybe they'll be tempted by this information and weakness to try a storm against something that's said to be weak, but is actually stronger.
He kind of like looks at you. Hadn't thought of.
It's not a big thing, but it may buy them another day of defense. It may sting the enemy. It won't win the war, but it might buy us time if it works, this trick.
Time is what we need. Good work, Beregond. We'll have one of the riders misplace that information along the road.
Senna claps you on the shoulder. Glad to have you, old friend.
Well, you know. If we can hold out for another day against the shadow, we can hold out for another day.
Henrik thinks of those who...
Every
Sorry, you go.
Every dawn is worth something, even if the night will come.
Very true. Very true. And Cynric is mostly thinking of those two Eastlanders, seeing the same dawn, thinking of different darknesses. Maybe so different.
And so you ride west towards the Entwash, the river, and the crossing there. You make good time across like the wide plains of the Wold in East Emnet. It's made for riding, and Ciaro seems joyous to like gallop and run as fast as she can. And your horses are like enjoying the wide open plains and the wind whipping at them. As you like ride, you can see the river in the distance, and the crossing abandoned, nobody there, which is lucky. And you're able to cross. This is maybe a day into your travels, and as you enter into like West Emnet and start to head south towards Edoras, there's like this strange pain that like racks at you, Beregond, and at you, Cynric. This like old wound that like flares up, this sort of like pretty miserable pain. And this like sense of foreboding and dread that like comes over the both of you, as if from nowhere. Some
grimaces and maybe the full-paced run slows to a canter. He kind of like looks around, looks at the others, looks for whatever could be assailing them. Like Numenorian, Wraith at the campfire, Ring Wraith.
Beregond less comfortable on a saddle than Cynric. As the pace drops off, takes the excuse to drop from his horse, and as he lands on the floor, he winces and sinks almost against his strength, his will, to his to a sort of doubled over position, and just supporting himself on his knees is just panting heavily.
Faroth isn't used to Cynric falling behind him in the ride. Often and always kept secret to himself, Faroth likes to attempt to gain ground on Ciara every now and then when they make the ride, but he can never manage it. So when Ciara falls back and he canters around to see both Beregond now out of his saddle and Cynric slowing, there's a look of real concern comes across his face, and he canters back and looks down upon them to see what's wrong.
Sin's still in the saddle, but he's like clutching his side. You might remember where he was stabbed, but he's like looking around at the horizon almost, and then like as you like get closer, do you not feel it, brother?
Yeah, you can almost hear the music. And you can see this like bird shape in the air, though too big, too menacing, and there's like a dark cloud that like prefaces thunder or rain, it seems, that is like rolling over the plains. You can see like the shadow of it, and as you like look, you can see this shape in the distance far out. To the other two of you, it's abundantly clear what that is. You can like feel the menace and the fear and like the pain. And you know that one of the 9 circles above, in the distance still.
Ring Wraith! Faroth bellows, drawing his blade and sort of cantering back defensively on his steed. Is it really, really high up in the air at this point, or is it circling down towards us?
No, it's quite high up and quite far away. You can I guess barely make it out. But for the other two, like it's so much clearer. They can like if they look in that direction, almost see it like blazing with light, you know, compared to like you just like, is that a big bird? You know, but for the other two, it's just like obviously something profane and dangerous.
Oh, well, in that case, then Faroth might not realise what it is then in that case. So not draw his blade, not shout Ring Wraith, but just look sort of like pallid and concerned that his friends are so laser focused on something in the distance.
Wraiths, they have wings. And there's like a laboured breathing. And he kind of like points. Just like breathing through his teeth.
You can like feel it, Beregond and Cynric. Like each beat of the wing is like a new like explosion of pain in the wound.
I look, you know, for some form of cover, like a copse of trees, maybe.
Yeah,
it's whenever
you can find something like that.
Yeah, Beregond is as well, just staggering after Cynric.
I whistle to his horse and like grab him by the forearm and like pull him onto the back of Ciara, and Ciara's doing most of it, but we are trying to pull away perpendicular to the incoming Ring Wraith.
And Faroth is going to follow them, and he's going to use one of his abilities that he got fairly recently. He's actually going to use his trackless step to ensure that as they move, he can conceal their path to make it practically invisible to anyone seeking to find us.
Yeah, perfect. So maybe you like quickly begin to like wipe away some of the marks of your passing and like make towards that copse of trees. You like push the horses in and like try and quiet them, and you all crouch down low. And you can like feel it approaching, and now even you can feel it far out, this like sense of dread, and like the sky darkens and rain begins to fall first in like fat drops, and then this like sheet of rain, and you can feel and hear the of these wings, this wingspan that must be 30 feet, if not more. And with like insane speed, it like passes over you. You like look up through the trees and the shadow passes over you. There's a sense of cold immediately. And it circles. And then there's this screech that comes, this terrible screech. It's like high-pitched and deafening, but also like so deep and rumbling that it rumbles in your chest. This insane sound. And I'll need each of you to make a wisdom save, please.
Oh, shit. Uh, 18.
Oh, that is not good. 6.
Oh, God.
Beat you.
Beat me.
So Faroth, you're like scrunching your eyes closed and you're like trying to ignore this like sound, but the other two, like the wounds begin to like, it feels like they're opening back up and exploding with pain. And both of you will let out this like, this like cry against your will. And like atop the thing that you cannot see it, the camera can. And it's as it's like the head of the Nazgul on top turns, snaps in the direction of the cops and circles back around again over the top. And again, this like sense of cold.
If it's flying as if inexorably towards us, I think Faroth is going to slowly pull the bow he'd taken from the battle on the sea and draw an arrow and rest it upon the top of his thumb and index finger, ready for the to draw back. But he's not going to reveal himself if maybe there's a chance this thing might miss us again.
Yeah, it's flying over, and again, and every time it goes over, there's this like icy cold, and you can even see as the shadow passes over you that like some of the nearby like water will like freeze, and some of the grass will like go crunchy as if it's morning and cold, and then it will fall when it moves away again. This is and another screech. Another wisdom save, please.
From all of us?
Yes, please.
Oh, Jesus.
That's about a 19.
Also 19.
5.
Oh, bless you.
You do have inspiration cards if you want to use it.
Nah.
Sounds about right. So the thing turns again and like looks now with more certainty towards the copse of trees, and the huge creature with like a snake-like head and these like massive wings begins to circle above, and is moving like down towards the ground.
Just by instinct, more than anything else, Beregond is sort of just blending into the shadows. He's done it all his life, and that's his instinctive reaction when there's danger. And he's become very good at it, even though Cynric and Faroth know he's there, and they kind of lose sight of him. I don't know whether the Nazgul will, but it might save me from the beast as well.
As I've recovered, can I ready my bow also? Unless it's like close enough to be upon us. Near
No, it's
enough.
not.
Do we have a minute to use our hide in plain sight thing, or is it less than a minute's time before impact?
It's still quite high up, and it seems to be sort of circling. It doesn't like it's not like looking directly at you or anything. It's clear that to it that there's something around, you know.
Okay.
It's not sure what.
My only concern about that is that Faroth is looking to his friends, and there's clearly some kind of link there. Maybe he doesn't understand the intricacies of it, but clearly there's something that makes it keep coming back. And he doesn't know how well you can hide against a wraith, even if you do have cover. Maybe you can see through such things. So he's going to just hold his ground where he is still slightly hidden, ready to take a shot the second it comes within attacking distance, essentially, if it goes for us.
it circles for a while above, and then like will eventually like come to land maybe 150 feet outside of the copse of trees. This, and on the back of it is one of the 9. It has this like helmet with these 2 great curved horns. There's nothing beneath that helmet. You can see like the gap between where the neck would be. There's nothing there, and it like lands in this great creature with like these enormous wings will like coil, and the member of the 9 on the back will like look around, and it will like dismount. It just stands there like perfectly still, sort of scarily still, like looking, searching, with no eyes.
If this thing is allowed to escape, it could bring ruin upon Eldenburg, Edoras, all of Rohan.
I don't think we can kill it in a volley. If it goes the distance, or kill the beast.
If we can stop it from flying, we may have a chance. I will point out that there's no conviction in Farah's voice there when he says we may have a chance. He's looking at the fell beast, and while they have witnessed a dragon before or a drake, rather, this thing looks terrifying.
Yeah, it looks too shadowy and too black to be real. Like it's the skin of it is this black sort of scale, but it's like so dark that it looks like it can't be real. It looks almost 2-dimensional with how like black its skin is. The head of the beast is just like baying back and forth at the front, like searching through the grass and like sniffing. While the Nazgul like stands sort of nestled in its wing and is like looking around.
So is it built like a dragon, or more like the fell beast from the?
Yeah, it's more like a wyvern.
More like a wyvern. Okay. Do I get a feeling with the dragon helm of Dorlom in, I would be able to control it, confuse it, stall it in some way if I
Right.
dragons previously?
It's a good question. I wonder. It is a good question. I guess it does seem draconic in like the shape. It's a winged reptile of some kind.
Yeah. I mean, he's not stupid. He's not incredibly smart either. And this is whether you can control a dragon with a magic helmet or not. So I suppose the only way to find out is to do it. But I turn to Farath and like I'm mounting up or something because sitting in one place isn't going to help. Do we go for the beast or the wraith?
Prevent its escape. If it cannot fly through the air, it cannot obey the orders of its master. Keep it on the ground.
Okay. I think still he's going to swap to like the spear and the shield because he's gonna try ride out and meet it to some description. Either that or we get killed in a copse of trees trying to hide.
Farath is also going to like hop back into the saddle, and he looks at you, Cineric, and he just says, "Your home, your people."
My home, my people, and
Gondor swore to come to Rohan's aid, says Beregond, jumping on his horse.
get a thankful smile before he turns and bursts out of the trees. A gallop.
And I think we follow.
Ride for Red Ruin!
Okay, so let's roll initiative, and then we'll take a quick break, and we will fight. That's cool.
Holy shit. Okay, and I've put my initiative in the...
So we get advantage on perception and wilderness. It's not advantage on initiative. It's an advantage on first round of attacks. Maybe. I honestly can't remember playing different ranges.
I think it's the first round of attacks, but I'm not too sure.
That's one of the ranges, but I don't know if it's the well, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, let's roll. Ooh, a good 15 there.
I can only say I wasn't expecting you guys to try and fight this thing, but here we go.
I mean, I don't. I don't know what else we can. They're already like on our trail because we've screamed so many times that they know where we are, and we can't outpace this. So,
Yep, it fits. I think. Yep.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't know how it's going to go.
We didn't manage to get any information out of those Easterlings, so maybe we can get some information out of the Nazgul.
Tell me your plans, Punisher.
Quick 5 minutes, and we'll come back and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh boy.
Dun, 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 dun.
For Wrath, for Ruin, and the Red Dawn.
I did check. It is first round combat. We get rerolls.
Okie dokie.
So, do you want me to paste
Yes.
all the things I currently have equipped in case it becomes relevant, Lloyd? Because there are many.
Yeah, go on.
I'm most interested in if you think either the Drake or the Ring Wraith count as undead.
Jesus.
The Ring Wraith probably does.
So the Star of Battle glows 500 feet away from undead and does more damage to dead and has the knockdown thing. And I have this armor, and then I have the Wolf Turner, and then the axe of killing orcs, and the helmet.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is more than I remember. But
You guys did raid Gundabad.
That's between all of us, though, right? Or is that all just on you?
you guys all got like a similar. I think we each
Yep.
got at least 2 pieces of incredibly good gear, if not more.
Yeah, I remember.
What else?
Baragon remembers. Baragon remembers that Faroth stole most of it, but
I've just found it because I had to find a new place on my character sheet to put things. So I think I got the arm ring of Tar Ministar.
Yes.
yeah, doesn't
Whatever
suit you.
Whatever you gentlemen have, we might need to call on all of it right
Yeah.
now. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, let me just paste that initiative back in there.
I also still have the Ring of Barrow that you gave me because you thought you were well, you did try and go kill yourself.
Oh, good. I thought I'd lost that. Oh, good.
No, you gave it to me before you went into the depths.
Yes, I remember doing that now. Oh, phew.
Oh my god! Yes, I remember this. Okay.
Which I don't know. At some point, I could have tried to give back to you in some sort of scene, maybe. Oh, it's been a very busy time,
It's been busy.
and you were very sick for a long time.
Okay, so you come barreling out of the copse of trees, mounted up and ready to go. It's about 150 feet away.
Yeah.
At this stage, so you can, if you were like barreling, I'll give you that first turn to like a surprise round, basically dash out. So you'll be 30 from it if you want to do that before combat starts. The thing, this Nazgul, like as you like come out, it's like searching, and then it just like locks on to where you are, and like it doesn't seem to be holding a weapon, but it raises its hand and like does this strange sort of movement, and then like closes its fist, and then there's like a flash, and 4 forms stand there, identical. Each with a sort of shadowy blade in hand. That's what it does on its turn. It will also move to mount on the Fell Beast, which it uses movement to get back on, and that'll be the end of its turn. So 4 of them are like clambering onto the back of this Fell Beast, like one of them sitting at the head, another one half an its back, one of them holding onto the wing, another at the tail, spread all over it, all identical as far as you can tell. And Baragond, it is your turn.
Baragond, Baragond lets fly an arrow from the bow of Celembrimbo as he goes flying out over the plains, hitting an armor class of 27. He's shooting it at the flying beast, at the fell beast.
Okay. Yep, that will hit.
And did you say we have a surprise round?
That would have been the first round as you're like riding out of the copse of trees, but this would be like that was before combat starts. If that makes sense.
Okay, so I couldn't get off the arrow during the surprise round or anything like that.
Well, my assumption was that you'd all be dashing.
I mean, he could move and shoot.
Can I move and shoot whilst they dash?
Yep, I'll allow it.
Then I'll be shooting at the fell beast and get off a surprise attack. So it hits it 4. Then I'll be able to get my sneak attack damage on it.
Mm-hmm.
For a total of 34.
The arrow flies through, and like as it like moves its wing to the side, it catches it like in the back where the shoulder joint would be, lets out this like horrifying scream. Is that it for you?
It's got to make a wisdom save against blinding. I don't know if that. Sorry, I didn't note all the. Let me just see if I've got that written down somewhere else. But that's a special ability of the.
So it has +3 versus ring rates, which is very important here. Unbreakable. Okay, so you can issue a command where it is an action to have all sun-sensitive creatures make a save or be blinded for 1d4 turns.
I'll try that. Or is that a separate thing? I've got to do that as my main action.
That'll be your action, yeah. You like hold it aloft and it like shines bright like
right. I'll do that next round because I'd forgotten about that ability. Great. Okay.
Okay. And so Bergon fires this excellent shot, catches the fell beast in the shoulder. Cynric.
Right. So I've got up to 30 in the surprise round, so I'm only 30 away or so. You said there is full identical ring race upon this creature now.
Yes. Yeah. Some sort of fell illusion.
And the beast itself before it's taken off.
Yeah.
With the lance, with its knockdown ability, I presume this thing is too big to be knocked down.
Yeah, it's like 2 size categories bigger than you are, if not 3. Yeah.
I just thought I'd check.
Yep.
I am going to thinking about it getting away. Flavor-wise, I'm going to try and strike one of its wings, arms. Try to shred something, like put a lance right the way through it. So. Yeah, Star of Battle, there it is. Okay. First hit's a 25.
That'll hit.
And second hit, 19.
That one misses.
Okay. Dice in the dark. There we go. That's the one I wanted. That is 16 damage.
Fell beast as well, right? Yeah.
To the fell beast, yeah. That's 1 strike out of the 2. With the helmet, is that like an action to try? It does, because I know I could impose my will on other things.
Yeah, so in combat, what I'll say is like it'll be an action basically to like cast a dominate spell.
Okay.
DC will be like 8 plus proficiency plus your charisma modifier.
Right. Okay, so I go the 30. I slice through or try and attempt to damage one of the wings, and then disengage and pull away.
Okay. Yep.
I think that'll be my turn.
Okay. The beast like screams from the pain and will lash out first with a bite towards you, Cynric, with a 18 to hit.
That doesn't hit, I'm afraid.
So it tries to slash bite out at you, but it's unable to do so. And then its like wing comes around with this like clawed tip, tries to slash, but it misses that as well. Its injured wing, not moving as quickly as it's used to, like slashes upwards, and you can feel the of the wind, but unfortunately it misses you. And the tail. And that's a 6 on the die, so it misses all 3. It's just like lashing out all like crazily all around it, but it's unable to connect. That's the. I forgot to take legendary actions for Camel. I'll start next round. Farath, your turn.
So Farath follows Zinaric's suit, him the leader of the charge, and while he goes for one flank, Farath breaks away and goes for the other wing, to be precise. He swings the Gleaming Flame of the North for a 21 and a 23.
Those both hit.
So that is 14 and 18 points of slashing damage, respectively, as he basically charges the other side of this foul creature. And his intention is to ride around it, but that's his turn for now.
Okay, yep. So you do ride and slash at the thing's wing and continue riding around in front of it. Camel, the Easterling, now like rising atop his fell steed, is going to turn towards... let's see. It's a good question, actually, in the roll dice. Farath.
Which one?
It turns towards you, Farah, all of them, with this like strange symmetry. They all like turn and like look in your direction, and it like points a hand towards you. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh God, not one of my best, I don't think. 17 on the die. 19.
Okay. So you will take half of.
I had a feeling it was going to be one of those.
It's a lot of numbers. So you'll take 18 necrotic damage. As this like sickening sort of radiance like bursts forth, and you can like feel this like power, this dark shadow sort of begin to like wither at you, though you like push away the worst of it, as it continues to climb into the saddle, and then like with a shriek commands the thing to take off, but that won't happen until the fell beast's turn. Daragond, you're galloping forth. You can see that it's now like in the saddle of the fell beast as you ride towards it.
Daragond raises the bow of Gilgal. Yes, and says, "Creatures of shadow, remember the light of the undying lands." And it burns with a brilliant light, and they must make their wisdom saving throws or be blinded by the light if they are sun sensitive. I don't know if they are.
The fell beast definitely is, and it fails that save. There's like this, the bow is like held aloft, and there's this bright like light. Like when Gandalf rides out and shines it in the direction of the fell beast, it's like insanely bright white light, and it hates it, and it like shrieks and like tries to cover its face with its wing. Camel succeeds on his save, but
so he's blinded for D4 turns.
Yeah, do you want to roll me a D4?
Yep, it's just 2 turns.
Okay, yeah, so it like shrieks from the bright light of the bow, and Cynric, it's your turn.
Advantage against the blinded foe, right?
Yep.
I think so. Let me check.
I believe that's how that works.
Assume that's the case, but I'll just double check.
Oh no, I carry on riding towards it.
Okay. Blinded creature can't see and automatically fails ability checks that require sight. Attack rolls have advantage, and it have disadvantage. Yep.
Okay, so both of them are like 24 and above.
Okay, those both hit.
And again, aiming to damage its wings, riding around and harrying it. Both of those are 18 damage. I rolled the same thing to hit and the same thing for damage for both dice.
Okay, very nice. So 2 strikes. Is this from the spear or the?
Yeah, the spear is still cutting through.
Yeah, there's like this black blood pouring forth from this thing. So it obviously is alive somehow, or something animates it. Some dark blood that like pours out into the ground with each strike. At the end of your turn, which I keep forgetting to do, Camel is going to look in your direction and like whisper something. And I need you to make a wisdom save, please, Cynric.
I shall. That is 18.
Okay. So you'll take 16 psychic damage.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. And you can like feel the presence of the Easterling's mind in yours. Some sort of connection has been made. And like the pain in your wound is a little bit worsened. That's at the end of Cynric's turn. Fellbeast is blinded and screaming, but it's been told to rise, and so rise it will. It beats its great wings once, twice, and 3 times, and like takes off into the air.
Can we have opportunity attacks against the Rising Beast?
You and Farath can.
Mm-hmm. Advantage again.
Oh yeah.
22.
That'll hit.
16 damage.
Okay.
I believe I hit with 22 and 26 against the Fellbeast.
You just get 1 opportunity.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why I rolled 2.
It's all good, but that's both hit.
Yeah, attack with advantage.
Oh, that's right.
That's also true. Yeah. So that is 18 points of slashing damage at the Fellbeast as it rises.
Yep. So these parting shots with like the soft underbelly of the thing, and it rises up into the air swiftly, and you can hear this like from the Easterling atop it as it like takes off into the air. It's in the air.
The Sauron servant flee so quickly.
There's no response except for the shrieking of the Fellbeast. That's its movement, and then it shrieks. I'll need each of you to make me a wisdom save.
I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I definitely shouldn't have said that. Oh, shit. Oh, no. That's 9 for me.
Okay.
14.
Yep. Beargut?
Just a second.
Right.
I get a... $17. I'm using my inspiration.
Okay. So you succeed, Beargut. The other 2, you are frightened of the Fellbeast, which means you have disadvantage attacks against it, and you can't move willingly towards it. You can make that save at the end of each of your turns. So there's like this scream that like shakes you to your very core, and then it's your turn, Farath.
I'm going to say, just for dramatic effect, the horse rears up and it sort of flings Farath from the saddle, and he rolls backwards. So he's rolling away from the thing rather than towards it. But mid-roll, like he's shakingly trying to like pull his bow to his hand, and he's going to take a shot, but it's a disadvantage, right?
Yes, although you have advantage because it's blinded if you're shooting the thing, so it'll just be even.
So 2 shots against that. It's with a 20 on the dot.
Yep.
And oh no, that's definitely not going to hit. So 1 shot from the great bow, which will be 11 points of piercing as the arrow sinks true.
Another like shriek from it as it's like up in the air and trying to rise higher. At the end of your turn, Farath, Camul will point his finger, his like gloved finger, gauntleted, down towards you, Cynric, and I'll need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
I shall do. Please have a high modifier. That's a good modifier. That's 18.
Okay. You will take 17 Constitution necrotic damage. And that's it. That's half. For a success. So it like points its finger, and this like shadowy blackness like will almost like congeal from the fingertip and like strike at you, though it'll just like graze you rather than like enveloping you. That's at the end of Farroth's turn. Then it's Camel's turn. He is going to... That's a good question. Let's see. What's the best thing for him to do? Okay, yeah. He will atop the fell beast to like urge it to rise higher out of bowshot, and then will point his hated finger towards you, Baragond. I need you to make me a wisdom save, please.
Bollocks. 4.
Okay. It'll take 14 psychic damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it is clear that there is a connection made. He will know where you are at all times for up to an hour. So that's what he does on his turn, and then it's your turn, Baragond.
Baragond takes his bead on the fell beast and looses an arrow. Hits an armor class of 17.
That's not enough, fortunately.
Advantage.
You do have advantage, yeah.
Yeah, no, that included.
Okay.
No, he hasn't. It hasn't flown away yet. It's 60 feet away, but
50, yeah.
no, that is with. I rolled a 2 and an 8.
You were going to get sneak attack as well. That's such a shame.
Yeah, I was. Damn it.
Yeah, so unfortunately, like the wings are beating, and like just as the arrow is flying towards it, this like knocks the arrow off course as it continues to rise up in the air. It's a new round, so at the end of your turn, Baragond, he's gonna take a legendary action to send ribbons of negative energy towards you, Farroth. I need a con save from you.
Here we go. That is 19 in total.
Okay. So you will take... Oh, math is so difficult. You'll take 12 points of necrotic damage. Again, this like corruption just like burying itself into your skin, it feels like, blasting you once again. And he's just like atop the thing now, and he believes that he is safe. The thing is like taken up into the air, and he thinks he's going to throw down his hate at you at will. And that's the end of Baragond's turn. Cynric, your turn.
Okay, so I got a 21 and a 23 as I cast out my arms and draw my own bow, Easterling recurve bow. 21 and the 23, presume, hit against the blinded beast.
They do indeed.
Excellent. Oh, that's good damage. One shot is 14 and the other one is 15. Like I rolled an 8 and a 7.
Okay.
Into the beast.
Okay. Yep, 2 shots. Thud into the thing. It's covered in arrows at this stage and like bleeding, though it seems to show no signs of slowing as it rises further into the air. It's done 1 legendary action. So at the end of your turn, Cynric, he will.
I would be riding around, in an evasive pattern, but I'm not sure it helps much.
For sure. Yeah, I don't imagine any of you are just like standing still. But it's kind of a 3-dimensional battlefield at this stage, with him up in the air and everyone riding around. Okay. This is the spells, man. It's not my wheelhouse.
I think if he's like trying to get away or harass us, Cynric would like call out to ride for Edoras and like start riding that direction. Because I don't imagine he's going to follow us to the perhaps the most fortified area in the whole of Rohan. But
okay, yeah, you call that out. At the end of your turn, he is going to. This is it. Yes. He like mutters something, and you can feel it in your brain. Beragond, this you are next. And he marks you in some way. That's at the end of Cynric's turn. The Fell Beast is going to rise another 60 foot into the air. It's now 120 straight up. It's no longer blinded because it's been 2 turns.
It would be the end of its turn that it. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. At the end, that is the end.
Would it be my turn? Would it be the end of my turn since it's blinded for 2 turns and it got it on my turn?
Yep, that makes more sense. We'll do it that way. So it'll rise up, still sort of like trying to. You can see it's like beady eyes, closed shut, as it rides up another 60 feet into the air. It's now 120 feet up. That's all it's going to do. Faroth.
Faroth basically is desperately trying to gain ground up. I imagine, like you said, he landed on a hill, so Faroth is trying to get as much height whilst they're on the ground as possible to get the range. He fires a clumsy shot that just shoots miles out of the direction of the fell beast. But then he puts another arrow to his eye and lets fly a critical hit against the fell beast.
Yes.
That's 23 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And what have I got to roll?
Oh, yes. Good question. I forgot that we do crit tables in this game.
Please say go prone and it falls 100 however many feet.
Let me just open up that table. Give me 1 second. I wasn't anticipating.
No worries, man. No worries. All good. Just fill time with dramatic music. Bam, bam, ba, ba, bam.
Okay, firstly, I will require from you a D10.
Okay, D10. That is a 9.
Okay. Can you re-roll? 9 in this table is like not useful. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. That is a 1.
Okay. That is much more to your liking, I would imagine. And now D20, please.
18.
Okay, so the arrow like soars with like insane accuracy and like catches it right behind the jaw and like goes in there and lets out this like shriek. It is a weak point, and you can now crit it on a 19 or 20. So it could be crit on a 19 or 20.
Sweet.
In future. It like screams and it's almost like hollow because of the hole that's been put in its throat. But still, it rises. And let's see. He's now out of range for some of his spells, which I hadn't really thought about.
Stupid beast.
We'll welcome him back. Promise.
This is this is it. So you see the 4 forms shake and coalesce back together, and there's like this strange miasma that like rises from the ground around where you are, Faroth. This like it looks almost like hands of smoke, like greenish and black smoke that rise from the ground. I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Is it the legendary or in his own action?
Sorry?
Is this a legendary or his own action?
This is a legendary at the end of Faroth's turn.
Right, okay.
And this is directed at me, sorry, Lloyd?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Constitution, here we go. That's not great. That's 14.
It doesn't take effect until it's your turn. So apologies. So it actually won't happen until the start of your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ominous.
Spells. So that's at the end of your turn. Its turn. He is just going to stand on the back of the fell beast and like call down, flee. But that's going to be it for him because he's doing 100 things a minute. And then it is your turn, Beragond.
Were we meant to be testing for fear every turn? Or we were
Yes.
just feared? Yeah, I just thought that.
I forgot about that as well. I don't know if you guys were even doing the disadvantage thing.
We were, but wisdom. I got
Wisdom,
15. Yeah. Does that pass?
It does not.
On my last, okay. No, I did take into account before,
Okay.
but I didn't take fear save. Okay.
Which way is Edoras? Shouts Baragon, firing another bow up at the thing, but getting a. He's out of range, so he actually fumbles. I mean, if fumble exists, I rolled a 1.
What range is your bow? Okay. What range is your bow? Were you just flavoring the range thing?
It's a short bow, so I mean, it's not in the short range, so I have disadvantage. I can hit it, but I can't. But unless it's 80 feet away or less, it's at disadvantage.
Yeah. So more do I think for the fumble, but basically you'll just miss. It'll like say a little bit too short, and like won't. It might even just bounce against one of the scales of the fell beast. At the end of your turn, it's no longer blinded. So let's remember that. You can also make a save against fear, or were you not afraid? I don't think, right?
It was me and Farrell.
I wasn't afraid of it.
Okay.
No.
Okay, no problem. Then Cynric, your turn.
I'm writing in the general. When I said the Edoras thing, I'm writing in the general.
Okay, I'll be flying. I'll be going in the same direction as Cynric.
And and Camille was just taunting us on the top.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So this beast, you said, like it's hurt, but it just seems to be dragged on by inevitable will. Like it's not.
It does seem that way, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take parting shots at Kamal then. Now that has he solidified, or is he still 4 people?
He is solidified into one form, yeah.
Okay, let's shoot at him then. Because also, ironically, I'm not scared of him. So, in this very moment.
But you're still scared of it. You're still at disadvantage if the fell beast is in sight.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, is it only when talking? Oh, I thought
anything. Yeah.
19 is my best attempt because I rolled reasonably well, but I don't think that hits.
Yeah, it won't connect. Yeah.
Yeah. Fear. 17.
That'll do it.
Of course, I pass it when I'm running away. Ironically,
when you're not looking at it.
Yeah. So yeah, I fire over my shoulder and then move for Edoras, and perhaps that bolsters my resolve.
That was Cynric. The fell beast is going to go another 60 feet up in the air. It's going to dash, so another 120, so it's now 240 feet up in the air. So it's, I think, effectively out of bowshot. But it's going to ride up there and then begin following you. So at this stage, we might do a skill challenge to get you to Edoras before it lands on one of your horses. Something like that. So can you each select a skill that you think will be useful? Obviously, like animal handling, perception, things like that. And we'll go in order.
I would like to request animal handling, please. Thank you.
That's fine. Would any of these be hampered if we're still afraid?
I think you can't move towards the source of your fear, and you have disadvantage on attacks if you can see the source of your fear, so I don't think so.
Also, over minutes, it'll pass. If we're scared.
Can I just say that I would have time to get one more arrow off before it raises. I calculate it's about 300 feet from me. I've got a range of 320. So okay. Can I fire one last arrow?
Yep, for sure.
Oh, no, it's not going to be. And did you say I crit on a 19 or 20?
Yes, because of the wound.
Yes, I got a crit. I rolled a 19.
Okay, so let me just.
Oh no, I didn't because it's at disadvantage, so I rolled a 16. Still probably hit. 25.
Yep, that'll hit.
But it's not going to do much damage because I don't have sneak on this one. So just 8.
Okay.
It was just to see if I got a freaking
Yep,
freaking crit, but I didn't.
Absolutely. So you fire a parting shot. You all begin to gallop in the direction of Edoras as this like thing now high up in the air. It actually, as you begin to gallop, continues to rise up as opposed to chase after you immediately. So let's start with Farath.
So Faroth is galloping behind them. He had to basically run along his steed and sort of hurl himself into the saddle as the horse was still sort of running in panic. But he's able to get on the beast and is going to make a perception check to see if his ranger's gaze can tell the most effective and covered path.
Yes.
With crannies and rocks and valleys to run through to hopefully evade the foul creature. And that is going to be an 18 on perception.
That is the correct number.
Oh, thank Christ.
So yeah, you as you're like galloping, the three of you, not too far apart, you can like spot like copses that you can gallop through, or like little pieces where you can hide and like try and lose it as you ride. Okay, Cynric.
I shall be taking animal handling because it is the thing I am born to do. That 22.
Yep, that's a success.
Horse-based animal handling. He is going to. You said that Ciara was enjoying riding across country that is made for horse, and it is still true of West Emmet. And he is going to basically ride as harder than they've perhaps ridden for a long time, if ever, over the flattest ground, and aiming to see what she really can do.
You do so. The thing like begins to follow you at this great height, and you can see how fast it is, like worryingly fast. Even with the head start that you had been given, it's catching up quickly. Beregond,
as they're about to enter any sort of small copse of trees or anything like that, he goes and, with his cloak, slaps the dust out of the ground, creating a cloud of dust coming up to obscure their passage. He other things, he sort of he aims for flights of birds to fly on up, to get startled and fly on up and temporarily hide them. So, and then maybe change directions and swerve, following shadows, using his abilities at stealth and things that he's learned. And he gets an 18 on stealth.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, you're able to try and hide from this thing. So each time you do, and like you emerge back into sight, it's there high above, like circling or following you, like it's following you through some mystical, magical means, it seems. There's nothing, you cannot hide from it, it seems. Okay, back to Farath.
Yeah, blood is pounding in Faroth's temples as the gallop is taking its toll. They're riding across the ridden mark, and it seems there is no end in sight and no place to hide. So Faroth realizes this is going to have to become a chase of attrition. So he's going to use survival to pace his horse to ensure that they can ride longer, further. And again, 18. Shit.
Okay, very good. Eric.
Survival gone, stealth gone, perception gone, animal handling gone.
Intimidation go.
Things are looking very thin. Unless I could, well, I have a pure athletics. I don't know if I could bestow that into this situation to drive the horses further and further in feats of strength, similar to the rite of attrition with the survival. It's either that or insight, or start using like shadow law or something.
I think I would say that shadow lore makes more sense because it's like something you're doing actively. I feel like athletics is really for when you're running and you're.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But
maybe channel some fell thought through your link you have with it.
Indeed. Well, I have advantage on intimidation and advantage on checks against draconic creatures, so I might, but my intimidation is terrible, but advantage will help, perhaps. Am I able to try and confuse it or muddle the connection between rider and beast to give us some protection, sort of through shadow lore and
yeah, we'll call it shadow lore.
Cool. Roll. That's 15.
Okay, so you try, but the connection is almost immediately severed. You can feel it as you begin to mutter the black speech and connect with the helmet to the fell beast. This immediate power that dominates every part of that being, of that creature, and the connection is severed almost immediately. Bergond.
I'm imagining this chase taking place over rolling countryside, and sometimes we're sort of galloping up a bank, other times sort of down a hill. One time as we go up a bank, Beragond, at the top of the bank there are some trees, and maybe the Nazgul has got a bit lower, but Beragond jumps into a sort of burnt out tree killed by lightning, so there's hardly anything on it, and just using his cloak of Thranduil, can spider climb, run straight up the branch, and in a surprise moment get within range of getting off one other arrow. How about that?
Okay, we'll fail the skill challenge, but you can take another shot.
Yep, I'll try that because I've got no other skills.
Oh, okay.
Because you're not if you're not trying to evade it, it will catch you guys.
Have you not got anything like lore or?
I'll say run on to the other two as I run up the. I know they won't, but what a shame, because it'll be a disadvantage, won't it? And I don't have anything to cancel that out. So I
deception or anything you could try to deceive it from the direction you're running in.
Yeah, was it surprised by my sudden move?
I would say probably it would not expect that sort of sacrifice. I don't think it can think in that way, that it would never think of self-sacrifice or anything like that, which is what this is kind of. I don't think it would expect that kind of move, so it probably would be surprised.
Okay, I've critted the fell beast with my arrow.
Okay, so give me the damage.
It is 59.
Jesus.
Okay.
A crit by me is pretty.
Yeah, heavy. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is going to do it. So it.
Sorry, 61. 61.
Okay.
I miscounted.
Still more than you need. So it's high, and it's diving down towards you, and the arrow sails up and catches it in the eye, and although it's still diving, it's uncontrolled, and it just begins barreling down, and it's going to smash into where you are.
Oh shit!
Because it's dead. So it's going to basically it's turning over and over through the damage, and it's swirling aside, and wings are flying in different directions. The tail is wagging at the end. Have the other two of you, would you have stopped, or would you have ridden on when Beragond told you?
No way we're leaving him.
So
we're not leaving, but I think, I would think I was ahead a bit and, cantered round to the side to see this. I don't think I would hope I'm not an impact range of this dragon thing, because I did say I was trying to speed forward and he's hiding and whatnot. But
It's up to you. I guess in that case, if Baragon would have been behind, I would have been in the middle. So if you think it would have maybe hit me too, I'm more than happy to make any save if you want, Lloyd. Up to you.
So it comes barreling down, and with like this insane force, like smashes into a hollowed out tree, and into you, Baragon. And I'll let you, Faroth, make a Dex save. Of course.
Oh, that's good. Do I get a disadvantage because I'm scared for Dex saves? I don't think it is. Is it? It's ability.
Oh.
I think it's ability.
It's ability checks.
But
and
also, the
attacks.
fear lasted like a minute, and we've been running for longer than that, I imagine.
It was until you made the save, I think.
Oh, well, if we were going on 6-second rounds, you would have had a lot of opportunities.
You can just go for it.
Okay. 18 is the magic number today, it seems.
Okay. And your horse?
Oh. Oh, okay.
Don't we have a +2 dex, maybe? +1?
Yeah, what does he get?
Like a +1 or a +2 dex.
Yeah.
I haven't got them in front of me.
Okay, well, I rolled a
+1.
3,
Okay,
so 4.
All right. Baragon, you can make a save, a Dex save with, I'm going to say disadvantage because you're right in the path.
Mm-hmm. I made one for my horse and it got a nat 20.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see about me now. I'm good at Dex saves, or should be. 17. I don't know if it's good enough, but
Okay. So it just like there's this in the last few moments, it's like the air is all that you can hear and the flapping of wings, and then it just like smashes into the tree. One of the claws from the tip of the wing just impales your horse Faroth, and it like screams and it's like flung across and like smashes against the tree. You like roll out of the way. You'll be caught by some of it. Baragon, you'll be like smashed into in the tree with you. It fell a long way.
240 feet at least, or something. Unless it was coming in. Could be closer.
no, 300 feet at least.
You can use the dice roller because it's quicker.
Is Kabul suffering from fall damage? Dragged down by a fell beast?
I'd imagine so, yes, if he has a form. Okay, so the thing, there's like this massive crash. The tree that you are standing on is just like splintered to pieces, and like shrapnel pieces of wood like fly in every direction. Like several of them bury themselves into you, Faroth, as you're like trying to roll away. So Baragon, your horse, Faroth, you'll both take 83 points of damage.
Right. Can I use my uncanny dodge against an attack that I can see hit me to take half damage?
Like mechanically, yes. Do you know what I mean? But also, like,
can I throw picturing it? Can I throw myself in a bowl in the tree and sort of the hard bowl protects me from the worst of it? I'm sort of driven down into the ground, but
yes. Okay. So you'll take 41 then.
Yeah.
So you, Faroth?
I'm taking 83 points of damage.
You're taking 41. Half.
Jesus Christ.
Boom! Thing just like smashes. And all of the trees around are just like splintered into bits, and there's like pieces flying everywhere. And yeah, there's just like destruction everywhere that you look. And the thing's body, it like gives a few heaving breaths before like it goes out. And in the quiet, I guess, apart from the screaming of your horse, Faroth, Baragon's horse made it most of the way away, but still half of 83.
Yeah, that's enough to kill it.
Yeah. So it like makes it most of the way away, and then this like splinter of wood from the tree just like catches it and will end it. And that is, yeah, the state of things.
More anywhere to be seen? Or can we
currently.
get away? Okay. Are you still alive, Faroth and Berikant?
Yeah, I am. I was just using the calculator to work out my actual health, but he doesn't look particularly great. But Faroth, like, wearily gets up. You can see splinters just like sticking from him, blood pouring from like a particularly nasty like slice down one side of his neck. And he staggers. He's still got his sword in his hand though, and he's going to slowly start dragging his way towards where the fell beast landed. And he gives you a look to say, "Let's finish the job."
I think Cynric looks on in horror. I imagine he was at the front of this race. If it was, like the Legolas, Gimli, Aragorn racing across the countryside type thing, he was at the front and cantered some way and seen this, like the impact and the torn up dirt and shattered trees and his friends. I don't imagine he even sees Baragon, perhaps hidden in a tree as he is. I think he's aghast that like Faroth pulls himself out and starts going towards the beast. I'm going to aim to ride up to him. You sure that's wise? Not leave.
I mean, before he gets too close, is it? Can we see the wraith, Lloyd?
Not at all. No, it's just like this broken mass of fell beast. Like it's like this big, like a top of a wing sticking out here or whatever. But he's not visible.
Faroth stops short in his path and he takes a heavy breath and he realizes that something's probably broken his ribs. He's broken a few ribs and he looks towards his steed and decides that rather than seek immediate revenge, maybe best to put the poor thing out of its misery. So he staggers back and puts a merciful blade to its heart.
Relieved somewhat that you're now going in the opposite direction. Cynric looks. I think he heard a splutter maybe of Baragon somewhere, and he's going to aim to go and try rescue his friend while keeping an eye on the black mass.
Yeah, so it would have hit the tree that Baragon was in and then skidded for a good 30, 40 feet and left this big rut in the ground. And you can move around the back of it where the tail is towards where the tree once was. And I guess inside, covered in pieces of wood, you would find hidden in a nook, Baragon.
Help! I think Baragon, the tree, the bit of the bowl of the tree, the sort of hole in the tree that he was hiding in, the tree has actually been driven deeper into the ground, and he's sort of he's upside down in a position that he just can't get out of the tree, and he's bleeding and looking bad.
I'm gonna I home in on the noise, slide from the saddle, and try right the log in a way that I can get a hand to Baragon.
Another morning. I think we'll see. He says, spitting out teeth.
Thanks to you. Give me your hand. I'll try sliding out of the trunk.
Grab something and pull.
So.
And eventually I'm pulled out.
I think in horror, Faroth, because one, I didn't realize, but also Faroth, I guess, didn't realize that he would have been in that tree. So then he, rather than doing what he did before, would then run to go and help.
I look around at the destruction and the one last standing horse, and I help both of them up onto CRO. And I give one look back to the wraith.
Baragon sort of drops and he's sort of scurrying around on the floor, looking, saying, where is the rider? Where is his ring?
I look slightly aghast. I don't know, but I'm not sure we're in a state to find out.
It must be here somewhere, he says, looking, sort of scurrying, digging through the earth, sort of throwing bits of shrapnel and all the bits around. It might be here. We might find a ring.
Steal your thoughts of rings and treasures. Get on the horse to Edoras.
You have my ring, says Beregond to Cynric.
His eyes kind of widen a little bit, and he looks down to his gloved, gauntleted hand. Take it. Take this one. In place of whatever foul other.
And yet, as you go to say that, there's a sense of, but it's mine. All fine things, all grand things are mine. Who is this lowly peasant who would ask for such?
So he's like halfway to pulling the ring off, perhaps, and he kind of stops. Stalls for a moment. Does Beregond go after it?
Give it to me.
Fingers still like wrapped around the ring. He kind of like looks up.
Hey. And then a confused look comes on Beregond's face. It was a ring that symbolized the friendship between elves and men.
It is. Farrell's voice comes through, and he slips from the saddle and stands in front of Beregond. And slowly he reaches out with his hands and puts them on your shoulders to focus you in on his face. And he says, "And I gave it to you to bear it, and you will again. But now is not the time."
And Beregond nods and says, "As our Faroth commands."
Faroth waits for Beregond to get on the horse. He doesn't move.
Beregond climbs on the horse. And to Edoras.
Faroth follows.
I have one last lingering look at the wreckage of the beast and its hidden rider. Whether it needed to be... Sorry?
It's like steaming in the cold.
While CR is like slowly trotting away, perhaps with them, he just gives it a lingering look to see if he sees any movement. If he should go and investigate, or if that would be his doom as well, because he was already on like half health from being blasted by necrotic energies and the psychic touch of that creature. He actually doesn't want to go and see if it's still alive. And then he turns and begins walking to his capital and his king.
And you do walk away from that thing that you've left ruined there in this nameless hollow of trees and make your way towards Edoras. And like the camera will linger upon the dead fell beast, this thing, and then a shimmer, and like from stepping as if from nowhere. The Easterling looks down at the ring at his hand, and we can hear him say, "Greed lurks in all men's hearts." And you'll continue the rest of the way to Edoras without any more visitations from fell beasts and flying monsters. You can make the rest of the journey slowly across the plains, until you like reach in sight of AtS itself. It's a bit of a journey, but eventually you'll see it. Up on this like massive hill in the shadow of mountains, the walled city and the golden hall at the top of Mediceld. As you like come into view, there will be men who will like ride towards you, Rohan, who will like be confused at the sight of you, like these three people like walking, clearly badly injured, and will like pull up short.
Sorry, some riders rode.
Yeah, Rohan rode towards you, basically.
From the capital gates?
Yes, or from the surrounds.
Heralds first looks at Cynric and says once again, "Your home, your people."
He puts a hand up, walking beside his horse, perhaps an odd sight for Rohan. Hail, Rohan.
Hail. They look confused and like none too pleased, like quite threatening in their mannerisms. Strange times for you to be arriving.
Dark times. I have grave news for the king.
Of grave news, there is plenty. Looks a little closer and can like see that you are one of these people, one of the Rohan. He's not able to place the other two, but assumes that they're with you. All right, with us. Can you walk?
I can. Though I would rather ride. He says, like, with a bit of a smile, knowing how odd this is.
Yeah, no spare horses with this patrol, and so they turn and you can follow, sort of trotting. You can see like the city beyond. It's not so shining as Minas Tirith or like as ancient and grand as Illuminas, but it's still sort of quality to AtS when you look at it. There's all these flags and banners fluttering in the wind, and these white flowers that grow on mounds all around the city. And as you like ride closer, walk closer, you can see like men and women working on farms and soldiers patrolling basically around on horseback. And they lead you through the main gate, sort of winding upwards into the town itself. And as you like look, you think they're formidable, but there's no way that they would hold against a determined force of thousands. Not like the walls of Minas Tirith or the walls of Illuminas. And up through these winding streets, up like near vertical hills you go. AtS is a city of levels. That kind of makes you think of Minas Tirith in some ways, similarly sort of quite vertical. And the houses are packed tight together, but made of sturdy wood and yellow thatch, not like the white marble of the White City. And people look at you warily, and there's a sense of like worry, and you are strangers. And so even though they can see that you might be one of them, Cynric, there's still like a lot of like whispers and shadows as you like pass by. And there's like these stern-faced, bearded men watching from walkways and gantries, all of them like wrapped in green cloaks with round shields in their backs, watching as you cross. You're led through another gate, this one a little larger, into the royal courtyard, and ahead of you is Mediceld, the great hall of kings, and these great golden horse banners of the kings of Rohan hang there, and these men with bright mail and fine axes are standing guard. One of them, a bald man with one eye, will like step forward as you like walk up, and he'll nod. There's a meeting happening of the Thanes that were able to make it just on time. Been in there for some hours. He says that almost with like a sigh, like he's unhappy about it. Burka is my name.
Kingsburger. I'm Cynric of Eldenburg. And these are my companions, Farath and Beregond. One of Arnor, and he like beckons, and one of Gondor. We have news for the council.
Baragon brushes the dust and trail and sort of things off his brooch of the white tree that holds his cloak.
He'll ask for your weapons and will not let you into the hall with them.
I strap them to CRO and pass him the reins when the others have got off.
I assume there's no resistance in giving weapons.
Well, Faroth isn't, and as he's undoing his sword belt, he looks to Cynric and he says, "Long have I wished to look upon the Golden Hall, Cynric, and it is pleasant and majestic indeed. Cannot say the same of our welcome. These people seem mistrusting."
I can only guess at what has happened since I've been gone. Perhaps they've already been injured and in grieving, and we were only to make it worse. I don't think we were all this dour when I left.
No, indeed. I think you would think that like Rohan in general would be a much more mirthful place than Gondor, like much less stuck up, and in general, probably the people much more friendly and like a lot more singing and whatnot. But that is not the case now.
Yeah, so Faroth hands over his weapons, of which he has accrued a fair many. Daggers in certain boots and things like that.
Yeah, Baragon follows suit. They'll be pretty weighed down once he's unburdened everything.
Yeah, you see, like Burka give the weapons to like two other men who like very carefully like place them into a thick sort of chest and stand guard over it, like treating the weapons with necessary respect. And then he says, "They've been talking for some time, but I will introduce you." And then he'll like open the door, and immediately you can hear, "Across the river in great numbers. I don't have the manpower to stop them. My home burns even now." This like man is saying. He's got like a big red beard and a bald head. He's got this fine Rohirric armor, and a bunch of like men are like nodding vigorously as he's like speaking. And at the top of the hall, this tall blonde man with a beard and long hair is sitting upon the throne, this golden circlet around his head, and he's got like his bridge of his nose like sort of pinched, but he's nodding. He puts up a hand to sort of calm the man. "Ethelhelm, I understand what you are saying, and I have offered already to give space in Edoras for those who flee your lands. We have not the forces to meet these Easterlings in battle, as I have." And then one of the other men shouts, "Why not? You are the king, Thengel. We pay taxes and tithes, though in time of war you and the Rohirrim can protect us." Another man shouts, this one has black hair, and like a cresting wave upon his chest. And many of the men begin shouting, and others shout them down, and some are even like stepping forward and like shaking fists and stuff like that in here. But as the like light of the door sort of shines down into the dark chamber, and the over 100 assembled men like turn all at once to like look at the entrance, Burka like clears his throat, somewhat uncomfortable. "The Thengel king, I present Faroth, son of Fardred, heir to the northern kingdoms. I present Cynric the mourner of Eldenberg and Baragon of Minas Ithil." And he like nods and leaves the room as quickly as it is possible for him to do, obviously not interested in being here. And there's a like rumbling of chatting and whispering of a great many men in here. And you can see among them Cynric, like Wulfric of the Entwash, and like a bunch of the really big lords of Rohan, like the sort of, I guess you would call them dukes or whatever, you know, they wouldn't be dukes, but lords of lords, basically. Many of them are standing here, and they're all kind of discussing what's to be done. And Thengel says, "Come then, and be welcome in the Hall of Kings. I've heard some of your exploits, and we can all say that we are glad to have you here. If you can pull off some kind of heroic rescue like you've done in the past, we'll name you friends of Rohan for all time." And there's sort of like a ripple. Some people like agreeing, while others are like sort of chuckling, like they think it's a joke, but you don't think it is.
So though they're clad in resplendent gear, they'll obviously still be cut and broken and scarred and like whatever dark shadows the necrotic energy leaves on them. The touch of the shadow. My king, I have travelled a long way, and I came at haste when I heard the problems of our home. And I went home to Oldenburg to find it under siege by at least 1,000 men of the East. The Easterlings and the Variags. Though it does not...
Sorry, as you say that, there's a ripple again of like people going, you know, just like men like whispering and rumbling to each other.
Though it does not burn. When we left it 2 odd days ago, I do not know how long it has. And he kind of, you know, maybe he's grimaces at the pain a little bit. He's not going to like clutch himself in front of everyone. He's trying to stay as tall and as mighty as he possibly can manage. But there are darker things that ride the skies between here and there. The ring wraiths, they have wings. Great foul, fell beasts. We slew one on the way, though at great cost. And he like head tilts slightly back over his shoulder towards the others. You must ride at once, lest Oldenburg fall.
Thengel like thinks about it. You can see that he's a thinker. Like he's not going to just speak for the sake of it. But other men are not so thoughtful, and many of them begin shouting, "And we ride for Oldenburg, and then what? All of our other holds are unprotected," and all this sort of stuff going on all at once. But Thengel will like raise a hand, and they'll be quiet. Who are these people? Where have they come from?
The Easterlings, my lord?
Yes. I've never dealt with them. Never. Why?
We managed to intercept some of their messengers, scouts, some sort of party. We killed all but a few and traded words. They are proud people, utterly convinced of their purpose, of the Dark Lord's wishes, though there are a great many of them. 13 princes of the East, corsairs of Umbar, the Variags and sultans of Haradrim, and he's like saying it like I'm not sure how much he actually knows, if they're the first time he's ever heard of these places, quite possibly. All united, all their leaders given orders, and their soldiers carry them out.
Why Rohan? He says kind of quietly to himself, like, and it's clear that he means like all of the money is in Gondor, like all of the, you know, he doesn't get it. 13 princes and sultans, and what do they want? And there's this voice, nothing but the destruction of your way of life, the tearing down of your old order, a chance for all to be equal before the Dark Lord. There's a tall man who's like dressed as a Rohirrim, though his skin is sallow and his eyes are dark and his voice is smooth. They want progress and change and the end of old things. And there's like this like look as everyone like turns to look at this man.
That's what they spoke of. Change.
This man speaks the truth. He has knowledge of the Dark Lord. Who speaks with such direct wisdom?
he like looks in your direction, and you can see that he has now that you look closer, some black makeup around his eyes, and there's like a grin. And he like goes to bow. Can you each make a perception check?
27. I rolled a 19 on the die.
13.
I'm relying on Faroth.
Okay.
I got a 19.
Baragon, one eye.
So he goes to make a bow for us, and you see this like strange, like unnatural movement. And like as he comes back up, you can see that he like is about to like shoot something at the king.
Oh god.
Thangle King, watch out! He's basically just going to like hurl himself at this individual to try and prevent it. He hasn't got any weapons. He can't throw anything. All of our weapons are in that chest, so what he can do is rush him.
So because he spotted it, gives Thangle advantage on his dex save. He like opens his eyes wide and like raises a hand, and like this like dart like clatters into the throne beside him, and then there's just this like and like all around men start like running in different directions, and no one's really sure what's going on. You can like rush towards this man, and one more he like fires before you barrel into him, and you can make me an athletics check.
I gladly will. I was enjoying that. Sorry, athletics. Bear with me 1 second. Athletics. Okay. 18.
Yeah, so he managed to go, and then the last second, you bam, smash into him and like smash him into one of the nearby tables, and he like, and his like wind is taken out of him, and all these like men are like rushing all around to like basically like run up and like punch this man and kick him and like pull his arms wide so he can't do anything else, and like people are punching him in the face and all this like.
Baragon will go to cover the king.
You can like rush in that direction, and you can see that like the first dart had like smashed into the side of the throne, the second into his hand. He's like looking at it for a moment as he like looks around at all the chaos in the hall and all these like men shouting and screaming. He like looks at his hand, and then his like eyes go a little bit woozy, and he like falls backwards into the throne. As these men are just like punching this clearly Easterling spy and like battering him.
Herb Master, bring your Herb Master. The king is hit. The king is.
It looks like this man is going to die far up unless you like try and stop these men punching him to death. Because they're like kicking him in the head and stuff. I don't know.
Lords, peace, peace. I spoke with truth. This man has knowledge of the Dark Lord. We are to ascertain his purpose here. We need him alive. Stop. And like he's just bellowing at them, trying to make them stop.
Yeah, eventually they start to like pull each other away, and the man's like face is a ruin, and his like ribs are clearly broken. One of his hands, like the fingers are bent in the wrong direction. But you can see that Thangle is like unconscious at the throne. It's like tiny dart in the palm of his hand, and Baragon is like calling for the Herb Master. Someone who can heal, and there is chaos as Burka like runs in, and like the sun shines again into the hall. Upon like silence, everyone looks at Thangle, who seems to be unconscious on the throne. And that is where we're going to end today's session. Thanks so much, guys. It's so good to be back in Middle Earth. Oh my god,
good. That was amazing.
Yeah, so thanks for playing, guys. We'll like chat after this, and thanks for watching if you did. See you next time.